Dark clouds rolled over the city that cold November evening, but none of them felt as heavy as the moment when 7-year-old Aiden froze on the sidewalk, staring at the tiny homeless girl shivering beside a trash bin. Her hair was tangled, her clothes too thin for the biting wind, and her big brown eyes carried a loneliness that felt too deep for a child to ever know. It was supposed to be an ordinary walk home after school, just Aiden and his mother picking up bread and milk from the corner store, but the sight of that little girl hit Aiden with a kind of shock that even adults rarely experience. Something in her expression, fear, hunger, silent pleading, pulled at him as though he had known her in another life. And in that instant, even before his mother understood what was happening, Aiden's life shifted in a way that would ripple far beyond anything they imagined. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that remind us what humanity truly means, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It helps us bring more powerful stories like this to the world. Aiden couldn't look away. While his mother gently tugged his hand, trying to guide him home before the rain came, the little girl's shaking shoulders made Aiden's chest tighten. He had everything, a warm home, parents who adored him, food on the table, but something about her made him feel as though he was the one who lacked something. It was his mother who finally sighed and approached her, driven partly by concern and partly by the way her son stood rooted, unable to move. When the woman bent down and asked the girl where her parents were, the child stared at the ground, tears spilling silently as if she no longer had the strength to explain. It became painfully clear she was alone, scared, and freezing. Aiden's mother called for help, but bureaucracy moved slowly, and the cold wind did not. While they waited, she offered the girl her coat, but Aiden did something far more powerful. He removed his school backpack, unzipped it, and pulled out the sandwich he had refused to eat earlier, insisting it didn't taste good. Suddenly, that same sandwich became precious as he placed it carefully into the girl's hands. She hesitated, as if unfamiliar with the gesture, then clutched it with trembling fingers before eating with a hunger Aiden had never seen. In that moment, Aiden's mother felt something inside her chest twist with emotion, watching her child show a level of compassion many adults struggled to reach. When help finally arrived, the girl was reluctant to go. Her eyes kept drifting back to Aiden, who smiled softly to reassure her she would be safe. She didn't speak a single word, not even when the authorities gently led her away. But she kept looking at him, her eyes etched with gratitude that needed no voice. Aiden waved as she disappeared into the van, but inside, his heart clenched. Something deep within him had awakened, and he cried quietly that night, unable to forget her cold, fragile hands holding his sandwich like it was the most valuable thing in her world. Days turned into weeks, and although life moved on, Aiden's mind didn't. He kept asking about the girl, where she went, if she was safe, if she had anyone to love her. The authorities provided little information, citing privacy and procedures, and the silence grew heavier. Aiden's parents, especially his mother, saw the worry in his eyes every time the wind blew harshly outside. They realized this wasn't a passing concern. Their son had been changed in a way only true compassion could do. So they decided to do something extraordinary. They volunteered to be temporary foster parents, hoping fate might allow their paths to cross again, and fate did. One rainy afternoon, months later, a caseworker showed up at their door with a small girl hiding behind her leg. Aiden's heart nearly burst when he recognized those brown eyes. She was cleaner now, her hair brushed, but her gaze still carried that timid sadness. When she stepped into their warm home, she looked around as though she expected it all to vanish. But the unbelievable part wasn't that she came to stay with them, it was how she reacted the moment she spotted Aiden. Her entire face changed, softening into a shy, glowing smile that transformed her completely. She remembered him. Not just the sandwich, not just the moment he helped her, but the feeling of being seen. The girl, whose name they learned was Sarah, didn't talk much the first few days. Trauma had wrapped her voice in a shell too thick to break easily. But she followed Aiden everywhere, watching him with admiration, trusting him in a way she didn't with anyone else. Aiden read to her, played with her, shared his toys without hesitation, and slowly, Sarah began speaking, first with tiny whispers, then full sentences. The first clear word she said was Aiden's name. Aiden's mother often watched them from the hallway, her heart swelling at the bond forming before her eyes. She realized the unbelievable thing wasn't just that a homeless little girl had returned to their lives, it was that her own son had unlocked a part of her that had long gone quiet. Watching Aiden and Sarah together restored something deep in her, hope in humanity, faith in kindness, and the courage to love without limits. As months passed, Sarah blossomed. Her laughter filled their home like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. She became more than a temporary guest, she became family. And the day the adoption papers were finalized, Aiden held her hand as though he had been waiting his whole life for that moment. Sarah, once a trembling child on a cold street, now ran through warm hallways, calling his parents Mom and Dad with a joy that made every struggle worth it. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and share. Your support helps us continue creating emotional, meaningful stories that remind the world of the power of kindness. Before we end, tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you met a child like Sarah? In the end, the unbelievable thing wasn't just that a homeless little girl transformed their lives, it was that their son, with his innocent heart, had seen what adults often overlook, that even the smallest act of kindness can change someone's entire world. And sometimes, it can change yours too.